Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to a new episode of Words of Wellness. I'm your host, Yassir Al-Manawi, a clinical therapist. Today we are going to be discussing an issue that pertains to a lot of us, especially a lot of us that don't want to be responsible for their actions. So we're going to read a hadith, and then we're going to discuss that hadith, and we're going to talk about psychological issues and the psychological aspects and what kind of disorder this is very amplified in. Let's go ahead and read the hadith together, and then we'll get back to our discussion. From Abu Huraira radiallahu anhu, who said that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, from the perfection of a person's Islam is that he leaves alone that which does not concern him. What does that mean? From the perfection of one's Islam is to leave what doesn't concern him. Simply, it's just keeping the focus on yourself. And that's very difficult. It's very difficult for a lot of people. You find a lot of people, psychologically, they are unable to do that. And there are reasons for that. There are reasons that they are not able to keep the focus on themselves. What are these reasons? The reasons are it's internal. It's not only external, it's more internal than it is external. If someone is not able to keep the focus on themselves, usually they're looking at everybody else. They're focusing on everybody else. It's what we call nitpicking. Somebody who could be obsessive compulsive about other things other than himself or herself, other things and other people around him. Let's see what happens when somebody is taking the focus off of himself or herself and putting it on who? On other people. That means this person puts themselves on a high category and everybody else is what? Down, under. That means that they have their finger is always pointed at this person and this person and that person, and they never look at themselves. So usually, when somebody like that comes to treatment, what we usually tell them, what are you running away from? It's just one simple question. What are you running away from? And where are you running to? Where are you going? Where are you going? Because a lot of times you find people like that, they're going so fast, but they don't even know what they're doing. They don't even know where they're going. They're just flying by the seat of their pants. That's another expression. So let's see. Why is it very important for me or for anybody like that to focus on themselves and leave that does not concern them? First of all, if I'm concerned with everybody else and everything else around me, what is going to be in my head? 1,000,001 thing. Does it really concern me? No. Is it really important to me? No. So what do I end up with? I end up with a disorder that's called an anxiety disorder. You find that person very hyper. You find them thinking about a lot of things, talking a mile a minute. They just talk and talk and talk and talk. And you find them focusing on everything else to the point that this and this and this and that, they are not able to focus on one specific issue that concerns them. That's actually the end of the disorder. In the very beginning, it starts as somebody who's running away. Running away from what? And that's why when we ask this question, it's actually thought of, they run away from what? They run away from looking at themselves. They run away from what? They run away from their fear. Instead of facing their fear, they run away from what? They run away from their feeling of inadequacy, their feeling of loneliness, or any other feeling that's unpleasant deep inside of them. And that's why they end up focusing on somebody else. They end up focusing on other people. And that's why it's actually a very good habit to always watch yourself, to always remind yourself that when you have one finger is pointing at somebody, three fingers are pointing right back at you. They're not going in the other direction. They're going back at you. And that's what you need to do. How can I watch myself on a daily basis? And how can I start getting in the habit of focusing on myself? Easy. Remember, we talk about sometimes self-inventory. We need to take our daily inventory. How? We think. We remind ourselves every day. I cannot be looking at other people at all time. I need to look at what concerns me, because that way I'll get to know myself. That way I will get to know who I am, and what I need. That's what we need to do. So to recap this whole thing, focusing on other people, it takes us back to what? Arrogance. It takes us back to what? Not respecting others. It takes us back to what? Avoiding responsibility and not looking at ourselves because we don't want to be responsible for our own actions. And what does it do to other people? It offends other people, because if I'm not taking a look at myself, I'm talking about other people, or I'm telling them, well, how come you're doing that? You need to fix this. And how come you're doing that? You need to fix that. But I'm not fixing my own actions. So I need to fix my own actions first, which is a whole lot easier, because no one, and again, no one will be able to control others. Even if we wanted to, even if we are really in the habit of controlling others, or we think we are, we can't. It's just not feasible. The only person that we can control is us. The only person that we can control is our actions. The only thing that we can control is our actions, our thoughts, and our actions. So that's what we need to pay attention to. And that's how we start. We start by taking a look at our thoughts and our intentions. If my intention is to catch somebody doing some mistake so I can control them by it, look at me first. Because one day it's going to happen to me. One day somebody's going to be looking at me and pointing out my mistakes. So I better fix myself before I fix somebody else. I don't need to be afraid of looking in the mirror, because the mirror, no matter what's in it, it doesn't look that bad. The mirror, no matter what's in it, it actually has a beginning, and it has individuality to it, and we need to build to it, which is going to assist us in building our self-confidence, increasing our self-esteem, and working on our issues with life, and also gaining friends and gaining family members. So I would ask everybody, and I would urge everybody, to look at themselves, to start correcting their own behavior, to start working on themselves. Clean house, as we say. Just clean your own house. I don't mean your house, I mean this house. With these words, I leave you today with my hope that this was beneficial to you as it was to me. And we'll see you in another episode of Words of Wellness. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.